Welcome to another episode of Green and White. Today I'm visiting a garden with a fascinating story behind it, one that was built from the ground up in a kahikatea swamp. This 10-year-old garden spans over 7 acres and it's been shaped by both its challenges and its beauty. The owners have not only built a very thriving landscape, but a very special place for memorable occasions. Let's walk through this remarkable garden and see how it's been transformed from a previously waterlogged garden into something truly special.
Welcome to Gluce Gardens. My name is Glenda.
And my name is Bruce.
I was brought up in a small town called Patamahaui, and my dad was a dairy farmer. We had 90 acres, and my dad was a great dairy farmer. My mum was a great gardener.
And I was brought up out the back of Huntley on a farm too, and my dad was a dairy farmer as well. And yeah, my mum was a school teacher.
Not a gardener.
Not a gardener. No.
We bought this property in Ngaruahia about 32, 33 years ago, and we did not expect to ever garden here, but what really attracted us to this place was these beautiful kahikatea trees. So it's mostly kahikatea and a few poketeas thrown in as well. When we bought it, what kind of garden did we have underneath it?
It's full of hawthorn and barberry and yeah, just blackberries everywhere.
Yeah, honeysuckle right up the trees. We took years and years
to clean it out.
Yeah, pulling stuff down out of the trees and putting in piles and doing it in the winter. And in fact, when you looked out our kitchen window for years, we would just have this great big bonfire in front of us, which was in the middle of the swamp, which is what this property is, obviously, because there's kahikateas here. And we were pretty happy with that for a long time, actually. And then about 10 and a half years ago, my eldest son, decided to get engaged. And I had this epiphany that I needed to build a garden. His wedding was 6 months later, and they didn't have the garden wedding, but they did have some photos in the garden. So since then, it's just kind of taken off, eh?
Snowballed.
And it's a good thing. Knowledge-wise, I didn't have any knowledge really at all, but I've got a lot of creativity, and I'm pretty bold and don't mind trying things. So right from the beginning, we found that people would just start giving us stuff. And one of the first hauls that we got was just the local council. I was just down at the point in Ngaruahia, and they were pulling out the gardens and replacing them with some different plants. And so I said, where are you taking that stuff? And they were taking it to the Huntley dump. So I said, well, hey, I only live 3k down the road, take it to my place instead. So they gave us a whole bunch of nandinas and hebes and grasses, goodness knows what. And that was amazing. We planted those, and I just thought, whoa, what amazing provision. However, this is a swamp, remember, and in swamps you have floods, and the very next flood we had, which might have been a year later or something, all the hebes died. Yeah. The nandinas live though. We love nandinas. So yeah, there's some wins and some losses, and that's cool. So I've been a stay-at-home mum for our 3 children, and I was really wondering what was I going to do with the rest of my life. I was quite highly creative and loved to do card making and scrapbooking, as a lot of mums do. Um, but I didn't really know what the next step was. And when I had started this gardening, one of my girlfriends said to me, would I be able to take over her business for her, because her husband was dying of cancer and she was going to take a period of time. She wasn't quite sure how much off her business. So I was a bit nervous about that, but I thought, why not? I've already started doing my own garden. So I jumped into that, and there were 5 small gardens, which were lots of pots and bits and pieces, which I used to fiddle around with. And then there were 2 big gardens, which I just thrived in. I absolutely loved the challenge. After a year, she came back and I took her around the gardens, and I was like, yep, it's your business again. And she decided she didn't want to do it anymore. She wanted to take the little clients off me, but the big clients I'd grown a little bit more. And she said, they're yours. So suddenly I had a business, which it was amazing. I just was a real blessing. So 10 and a half years on, I now have 19 clients that are weekly, fortnightly, monthly, and I'm booming. So this is just my side hustle, is doing Gluce Gardens, and it's very time hungry gardening, but it's also a real blessing and just fills my heart up to be able to walk around here. And we have lots of occasions here, just seeing kids race around the place. We've had camps here and a few weddings thrown in as well, which are just beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm a carpenter, and with Glenda's creativity means projects, and so I've got to build a few things around the garden, which we'll probably see later on.
Yeah, it's a really good teamwork. So some of the difficulties that we've had is obviously we've built a garden in a swamp. So there's the flooding. There's also a lot of clay, especially on the bank by our house. It's sort of solid clay, and that's really difficult to deal with. We have we started with no finances. I'd only just started my job, so we have relied heavily on people giving us things, which is both a blessing and both quite difficult at times. And I just didn't have a lot of knowledge. I had been a mum and scrapbooked and did cleaned, but I didn't have a whole lot of knowledge about plants. And my mum was kind of the same. It's like we just grew things. She just grew things because they were beautiful. And I remember taking little posies of flowers to my teacher, and I just thought that was the best as a little kid. So I think because of the way the business has grown, I have just kind of kept in my lane of creativity and working really hard, and haven't spent a lot of time researching on names of things and that. But I can tell you that this looks amazing and this is beautiful, and this makes my heart sing. And when we see the dewdrops on some leaves, it's just like, wow, they're like pearls. Things that just make it all worthwhile, all the hard work you put into it.
Okay, so this is one of the first projects we did in the garden, this pink chair. And I built the main structure to it. And then Glenda said she had a design for the center. So I said to her, well, here is a jigsaw and you can learn to use power tools. And so Glenda was there drilling and cutting out holes, and this is what we created.
I actually think I'm more of a princess, and I didn't think I would ever use power tools. So it was quite a new experience for me. And there was a few bits that I probably had to put my hand up and ask for help with, but I was pretty stoked with the result. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another task I have in the garden is mowing the lawn. So it's quite a large lawn area, and it probably takes me about 2 hours every week to do. And it started out with a small push mower path through blackberries and weeds, just so we could get access into the trees and have a look and see what we could do. And then slowly it grew and went wider and wider, and then we broke in more and more land and to create
Put it right
this.
on.
Well, we've bought more than one. We've destroyed about 2 so far. We're probably on our 4th one now, but yes, we're quite it's quite a busy job too.
This is one of the fun projects that we've done together. We have got a builder friend who came and dropped off a whole lot of old wood, which was his fence that they were pulling apart, and put it on our dump pile. And as soon as he disappeared off the property, I started pulling it all off and stacking it away for a project. I drew up the picture of this little cottage, and I think it took about a year for some reason to talk my husband into building a house that was crooked. He thought that this should be straight, and I thought it should be crooked. So we had kind of a standoff for a while, didn't we? It seems funny now. Anyway, I shaped all the little boards so they were all rickety, and we built this little cottage, and we call it Newcastle Cottage. So the backbone of making this garden a success is a wonderful sandwich that we make to build up the level of the garden. You know, some girls come Valentine's Day, they might like diamonds or gold, but to me, nothing can make my heart sing more than for my husband to rock down the driveway with a tandem load full of horse poo. So to start off our sandwich, I use clippings and just debris, prunings from the garden, and then I layer on a thick layer of horse poo, and then I use lawn clippings, and then we put a small layer of topsoil on, and then we finish it off with some lovely fine mulch from the goat farm in Gordonton, just to make it look beautiful. And that's what we've done everywhere. This garden back here would be over 1 metre deep with that layer. So sometimes it takes a couple of years to build up enough prunings and debris before we put this gold stuff on. Anyway, makes for a wonderful garden. This canvas for creativity is my hobby and my passion. It's my gym and my retreat. My entertainment area, a feast of colour and form, a hands-on training centre, a dog paradise and family hub, a place where my heart is stirred, an indulgent location to walk and talk to my creator God. For a girl who really didn't like gardening, I've come a long way. I would say the last 10 years of my life as a gardener have definitely been enriched through the love of gardening.